Hello guys, to another episode of Ranking Lions. Today is not quite nerf. Today we're looking at the mighty worker. You know, all the worker parts, worker stuff. Just one of the big, not actual, competitive, companies. And we're looking at the actual fully built blasters. Well, the majority of them, I'm pretty sure, are fully built. And this will be 19 blasters on this list. So let's just dive into some worker blasters, shall we? At 19th, I'm pretty sure you have to build this one, but I just included it anyway. The Blade Blaster is awful. It has a cool little button on the side you press that opens a chamber where you can load a dart, prime the handle, pull the trigger to fire. But this thing is entirely 3D printed. You can't use it as a blade, so you can only use it as a blaster. And the blaster is terrible. It's not very good at all. It's one shot. It's pretty not powerful, known for worker for powerful stuff. This is not at all. And Bray's blaster even broke. It's not good whatsoever. It should not have been released. And with that, let's move on to 18. At 18 is the Double Barrel Ranger. This thing has its entire mechanism is in the shells, so it's not even that powerful. The shells are really big, and having two of them on this single frame makes it way too wide. It's not worth holstering, and it's a shotgun burst that is on par with the double breach. It's not good. Handle's okay, also 3D printed, and yeah, all the power comes from the shells, which are spring or string, so it's really not good at all. At 17 is the Normal Ranger. About the same, break action, shell, but this one's actually more sleek, and I like this one more than the double one. That's why this one's higher up, because it's still just a crappy little blaster, but this one I feel like you could have some more plinking fun, a little bit more like that, but still very weak for what it is. So yeah. Coming in at 16th is the Cheetah. The Cheetah is this was a really weird one. This is injection molded, and it fires rival balls. You load one rival ball, pull back on the T-pull, pull the trigger. The trigger's honestly not that great, but it does fire pretty decent. It actually doesn't, because it fires worse than rival performance, but better than this. But it's just weird. You can shotgun it, but you really shouldn't. No hop up, so it doesn't really have the range. It's just a very weird add-on. But because injection molded and it looks pretty nice, it's 16th. With onboard storage on top of everything else. Not bad at all. 15th is the Hurricane. 6 rounds, battery powered. I'm not talking about a modded Hurricane. I'm talking about the stock Hurricane that runs off of 2 AA's. And this thing is fun, but it is bad. First of all, just loading this thing is pretty much a 6-round Magnum, but it's hard to load because you have to completely take off that blue brick, load it, then put it back on. I really wish they could have, you could just load it from the back, but that's not how it works. And it's 6 rounds for electric blaster. It is electric, so it does have that, so 6 rounds pretty fast. But it's not really worth carrying other stuff on it. You have to make sure nothing gets messed up. And it's okay. It has its issues. The mechanism making it rotate, I've had issues with it. It's just a spring in the back. But it's a very small flywheeler, so we'll give it that. 15th. Nothing really too bad to say. It's fine, but it's just a weak flywheeler. 14th is the Cheetah Mark II. This one This one is something else. This hits hard. This is completely different than the last one. This thing hits really, really hard. This thing, I think it's 130 to 150, maybe 170 with a different spring, but it now takes half darts in a magazine that you throw in there. The issue is you have to pull the barrel out and push it in every time to load it. So there's more things you have to do. You have to pull the barrel out, push it back in, pull the T-pole, and then trigger. So a lot of steps. And it uses a few 3D printed parts, which I'm not a fan of for Worker. Like, they'll wear down and break over time. So overall, that's not my personal thing. I mean, it's okay, but like I have issues with it. But it does make it more accurate with Scar Barrel, fires half darts. It's getting pretty good, but it's still very, very long for what it is. And with that, takes 14th. 13th is something I thought would be awesome. When I saw this thing, I was gonna buy it before I built my long shot, mod long shot. I wanted to get this one, the Terminator. The issue with the Terminator is, I don't know why, but the shell itself is just flawed because it's inconsistent as all get out. It fires everything. It's just very inconsistent with the videos I watched, at least. And this thing was pretty much discontinued pretty fast. And it's just a cool shell that if you put the long shot parts in it, which is how you're supposed to, for some reason it just doesn't perform the same. It has issues with the accuracy, with just how hard each round is going to fire. It just has a lot of problems for a really cool shell, and it was really disappointing. It's just a really, really weird thing that happened. So I decided to build a long shot instead of the Terminator. Also, the Terminator shell was like $120 by itself or something like that, which is completely not worth it. So yeah, Terminator sits 13th for just hitting around. I think this thing could hit up to 300, but usually, around the 250 mark. So power gets 13th. Just pump action. Just a long shot with a cooler shell with way inconsistent performance. 12. The Esper. This thing is entirely 3D printed, except some metal bars and things keeping it together. The Esper is just pretty much just a springer. No, sorry, not a springer. A stringer. It fires half darts with a string, and actually hits pretty dang well. It hits, I think it's 140. Just depends on the string you really put on it, to be honest with you. Completely 3D printed, and I'm not a fan of that. But this thing did everything it was supposed to. Not really many issues or anything like that. It's just pump action, stringer. Nothing really bad to say. 12th is a decent place for this thing, so that's where it stays. 11th. The 11th is the original Phoenix. This thing was big when it first came out. Like, people were excited for this thing because Worker is releasing a fully built blaster. Like, that was never heard of. This thing is a 3-stage flywheeler that really doesn't work for 3 stages. But don't worry about that. It is an electric blaster. I don't really remember if this is semi or full auto, but either way, magazine fed in the handle. Comes with a small magazine. Curved magazine, actually. And does pretty decent. Injection molded. Pretty cool looking shell, to be honest. See-through and everything. It's not bad. Just has its issues with the 3 stages jamming and stuff, because the 3 stages really don't work well. But overall, 11th for a flywheeler. Not too bad at all. At 10th is the Swordfish. Now like everyone that I've heard like does not like the swordfish, but it is at this point, to be honest, I think a cheaper version and a cooler version than buying a Strife and buying a Strife kit at this point. It does its job. Maybe not the best ergonomics, but it does its job. It works well. It's a You can do semi-auto, full auto, but it's going to come as semi-auto. Still have to put it together, to be honest. So that's a downside. But it's just a Strife that has everything you could want. A few parts and stuff you can put on. Not as much as the Strife, but for making their own, the Swordfish is not bad whatsoever. There might be a few problems with the trigger with getting stuck, but you could fix that pretty easily. So the Worker Strife is 10th. At 9th is the Dominator. People skipped out on this thing. This thing, I still think, is pretty cool. It has a staggered magazine, and I think it's like 40 rounds in the staggered magazine, I think it was. I'm not quite sure, but having that big a capacity was awesome. And you can put multiple stages of flywheels into it. This one just has the one, but the shell is, this thing is a beautiful shell. I really like it. Still same swordfish handle, but way better front. And issues with this guy was jamming. You have to have a very specific flywheel cage and flywheels because staggered magazine has to be able to do it. This thing can be semi or full auto depending on what you want, but just the amount of capacity you have in this thing has to be 9th. Has its issues, but really, really fun blaster that has just a ton of capacity. At 8 is actually the Swift. The Swift was really big once again when it first came out, but then it kind of died really, really fast. It had a lot of issues in it, which is interesting, but it's still out of the box like around 300 to 350 or 250. It depends on, you have to switch out barrels, switch out springs. It's just a very big blaster that is just really cool to look at, to be honest. Pump action, half dart capacity, like I said, anywhere from 120 FPS to like 350. It has some issues in the actual blaster with some parts, stressing it or breaking even, but not that many. I actually decided to take this thing off of my wish list and replaced it with the Dart Zone Pro Mark IV, because that one is pretty much very close to this one. Just that one I think is better, and you can get higher performance way easier. This one is also, can't really put a scar barrel on it, so that's not great. At 7 is, come on, it's the Caliburn. This is the best Caliburn out there that you can actually buy, just because they have an injection molded piece that if it was 3D printed, it breaks all the time. With this, it won't. You can actually buy metal parts for it as well, which is impressive. I think this is an amazing version, like the Caliburn. Like, hopefully people still know what the Caliburn is. Like, this changed the Nerf hobby. Like, this was something that no one else could ever think of happening. Did it change in a direction I liked? No. But you can't deny the Caliburn was insanely important. Pump action, half dart compatible, very, very powerful. I mean, I must admit, I did have the Mark I from Slug. Well, did. That thing broke after just a few uses, but I did have the Mark I. And this one is just a way upgraded, better version of that one. Still going to have its issues with some breaking now and then, because 3D printed. Be careful with them. And also bending. But it's one heck of a blaster. 7th place is, I think, perfect for this day and age for it. At 6, say what you will, but I still think the Prophecy is top tier. I brought this thing. I've made many Prophecies, and I brought my best one to an actual competition, and I was dumbfounded that people didn't know what the Prophecy even was anymore, and that made me sad. I've only been in the Nerf hobby for so long. The Prophecy is still the best blaster I have. It's very accurate if you buy the actual barrel kit that comes with just metal bars on it. This thing's pump action, completely injection molded. Does have a few issues of getting if it's not taken care of well and gets really old, the back starts to crack. But that's only happened on one of my 3, and that one is my oldest. So yeah, it lasts about decent amount of time, to be honest. Handle is awesome. Trigger, I like. It's just very, very nice. You can buy full metal internals. It's just a beautiful, beautiful blaster, I think. And if you really wanted to fully suit this thing up, well, at this point in age, probably just go and buy a different one. Because fully suited up, this thing will cost you like 400 to 500 bucks. So there's just better options out there. But the Prophecy, still the king in my book. That's why it takes 6th. At 5th is the Nightingale. This thing is just good. It's a sidearm. I'm pretty sure there's like 2 versions. You can buy the semi-auto or buy the full auto. I don't think there's one that has both yet. I don't think so. Mag in the grip, semi-auto, full auto. Very, very good molding on this. This is Worker's like new molding, and it is way better than anything before. Better than Prophecy. Better than 3D printed, of course. Better than the Swift's design. It's just very good, very tough. Like, you could probably chuck this thing at a wall and it's still going to work. It's just very good. Why is it 5th? Because it's big and bulky, and it came out and you could buy a holster for it, but the holster was really, really bad. Like, I saw someone using it at a war and just kept falling out to the point where he just took it off. Like, it's just not great for holstering, but it is a good blaster. So 5th. At 4th is the Seagull. The Seagull, again, beautiful injection molding. This is pretty much the brand new Prophecy, but smaller configuration. This thing can hit anywhere from 100 to 200 feet per second. Very small, compact Springer that is beautiful. I really, really want one. I will get my hands on it eventually, but it's just beautiful. It's well done. If you're gonna buy one, don't get one that looks like this, because this kind of looks like actual firearm. Buy like a pink one with some accents or something. And with that, at number 3 is the Phoenix Mark II. This thing, whatever you wanted, you had it. Semi-auto, full auto, burst, robot talking to you, pretty much. Mag in the handle. This thing is a lot bigger than the original. Saying a lot too, because that one was pretty big. But this thing is cool. The front handle part is a bit weird to me, but it's fine. It is a weird looking blaster to me, but it does have a lot of uses and a lot of stuff in here that will work. You can have this thing firing insanely fast or very slow to the point where why are you even using it instead of a Springer? But it's just very good and very cool, actually. Just whatever you really want, this thing can give it to you in a flywheeler. It's going to cost you a lot of money, though. I can tell you that. At 2 is the Nightingale Mark II. This thing is just a better Nightingale. The same everything, just a better version. Better ergonomics, actually better holsterable. And yeah, bit smaller too. Not much, but a bit smaller. It's just the better Nightingale. So 2. And then what? And that one is the Harrier. Who would have thought? The Harrier is the Seagull, but better just because it's longer. It can hit harder. This thing can hit 300 with just a few little add-ons to it. It is insane. It's a Springer. It's beautiful. It can hit anywhere between 150 to 350 if you really push it. It's just a beautiful blaster worker. You went above and beyond on this one, and this defined a new level, a new expectation. That, to be honest, worker has hit a few times, but this has still not been. I don't think there's a better Springer in the hobby right now than this guy right here. I can't wait to look back at this video in 5 years and be like, this thing sucked. No, this thing will never be bad. This thing is like the prophecy. It will age, but this thing is beautiful. Very light, easy prime, to be honest. And it's just amazing. It even comes with a weird like bar thing you can put on its priming bar to be like a sniper. It's really dumb looking and not really useful, but it's fun. And yeah, Harrier's #1. With that, guys, thank you so much for watching my worker video. I hope to see you in a completely different one. I have ranked Zombie Strike, Elite, anything you can think of. I have a playlist on my channel. Go and watch that, and if you like them, if you like this video, please subscribe. And thank you guys so much for getting me to 300 subscribers. The 300 subscriber mile mark video will be coming out. I'm not very much sure, actually. I need to get a little bit warmer out for me to make that video, but it will come out eventually. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.